And so, man, so I get back from the Indian reservations. 3 years I preached seeking. I've got more messages. For 3 years I preached seeking. It was so life-changing to me. Why? I cried out in my hotel room. Why are they not getting it? God, why? God, I only get to spend a day. Man, I'm here with you just an hour or so. Why? God, how can I get them to get it? I laid down on my bed, and he reminded me of this. He reminded me of a class I took when I got my master's. It's Tuesday night physiology class, 3 hours long, with the most boring professor you can imagine. We weren't happy to be there. As a matter of fact, the World Series was on. It was like Game 7. And I had my little radio in my ear, and everybody would be behind me, and I'd write the score. Cardinals just scored 1, And while the whole time, he's up here, and class, open up your books to hear. 3 hours! You know what I'm talking about. So we're not real pumped to be there. So 3 hours Tuesday night, we go into this exercise of physiology, the body in motion. You got to know every nerve, every muscle, every bone, everything. In motion, it's pretty tough. And there we are, nobody's excited, everybody's mad. It's kind of like church sometimes. And so he gets up there, and he says, we're going to learn today about the runner's high, also called the second wind. I'm giving a score. Doesn't matter. He said, but the best way to learn something is not by actual, just hearing or lecture. The best way to learn something is by experiencing it. Say what? You said something about running. Say what? Now, you got to understand something. In this night course, we had every age, every type of person, grandmas, grandpas, moms, and dads, everybody taking this night course, okay? All kinds of shapes and sizes. You know what I'm talking about, all right? All right. So he says, we're going to learn about the runner's high, the second wind. Has anybody ever heard about that? Okay. And like 3, 4, okay. Now you are, so I'll just help you. I helped you on the rain. You're a little bit smarter, okay. He said, let's all go to the stadium, college football stadium. There's a track around it. So we're all walking out there. And my roommate and I, Ed, we were determined that we're going to make an A in this class and all through our master's degree. So we were going to do whatever it took to get these A's. And so we were going out there. Now, the rest of the class was complaining because we paid $325 for this class. So we don't have to run, and I'm not going to run because I got a bad lung, and I actually, Aflac! So you got a bunch of Aflacs going on. You got the picture, okay? Ed and I are going, we don't know what's up, but whatever it is, bring it on. And then you got this bunch of Aflacs, all right? The professor gets his seat. He sets it down, and he pulls out a paper, and he starts to read the paper. So we're all over there. The Aflacs say, hey, why don't you, since you two guys are all pumped up about it, why don't you go ask him what we're supposed to do? So I said, sir, everybody's wanting to know what we're supposed to do. He said, I want you to run until you hit the runner's high. And I said, well, when will that be? He smiled and goes, you'll know. Okay. Hey, he wants us to run until we hit the runner's high. Well, when is that? He said, you'll know. Let's go, Ed. So we went. And then everybody else started going with us. The grandmas and grandpas. Some guys in overalls and boots. And bless their hearts. And so they didn't run 10 feet and quit. And then after one lap, in 2 laps, about a half a mile, everybody else quit. Except Ed and I. So they quit, and they're all over here in this little group just complaining, right? Looking at him and complaining. He's reading his paper. So Ed and I keep going. We don't know what's up. We hit a mile and a half, and all of a sudden, we started hurting right in this area. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Some of you do it when you just run to the next class. But it took Ed and I about a mile and a half. We started hurting right here. And I thought, hey, that's it. That's the runner's high. This little pain. I didn't know. So I asked him when we came by. I said, hey, is it a pain right here? Is that the runner? No. You'll know. So we keep going. Ed and I are in about, third mile. We're not really in great shape. We were in shape, but not great shape. And all of a sudden, Ed must have had a bad burrito at lunch or something. And he said, Chip, I think I'm going to blah! Oh, it's coming out. and so, I said, yeah, but I mean, it was seltzer bottle, man. It was Exorcist pea soup type thing. And I said, but you're not quitting. So I'm helping him as he's blowing, you know. So I thought, that's it. Ed hit it. Throwing up's the runner's high. I didn't know, like y'all know. You didn't even know rain. But anyway, I said, hey, is throwing up the runner's high? Because Ed did it back there. He goes, no. Let me tell you something. We went, I don't know how many more laps, but I remember this. I remember my mind going, drop, dead, drop, die, die. My body, my hair was hurting. My fingernails, my toe, places you never hurt before. Okay, eyelashes. I was literally, inside was going, it's going to blow. That's what it was doing inside. It's going to blow. And I'm going to die. You could have asked me my name. I couldn't have told you my name. Couldn't have told you my name. And so we kept going. And all of a sudden, through all that pain, where it looked like I couldn't go anymore, something hit me, came inside of me, went through my body and energized it. And I was like, woo! And I ran by him and I sprinted and I said, I got it! He goes, yep, you got it. And all of a sudden you can hear Ed, I got it! And there goes Ed. Ed and I sprinted. We could have sprinted. That's how marathon runners can go 26 miles. They know when they're going to hit this runner's high or second wind. They hurt until then, but they train to when it hits. And so it is a high if you've never experienced. It's a high. We were jacked up. Ed and I were, woo! And he said, all right, everybody go back to class. But the whole time Ed and I are, woo-hoo! Woo! We couldn't even talk. Woo! How was it? Woo! Man! So we go back to class, and here's Ed and I high-fiving, trying to, everybody's leaving us hanging. We're still on this high. Ed and I are so pumped, and everybody else is like, just kind of like you are right now. It reminded me of church, actually. Thank you very much. Some of you, you see some of those, God, come on, God. Come on, God. And you see these. Huh? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And those ones that are back here like this, they didn't go with spur. They quit. They didn't go fur enough. Huh? Get your little Oklahoma stuff going there. Now, so Ed and I are still jacked up. We're still high. We don't know what on. But we're on something. And he began to teach us what it was. He said, medical science says that if you push your body, runners have found this out, to the extreme, to where the body looks like it can't go any further, it releases a hormone from your brain called endorphins. Not endorphins, endorphins. The endorphins will release out of your brain if you go far enough. I've had a bunch of guys like you and girls like you afterwards and go, we tried that. Didn't work. Let me tell you something. If you want to try this, it's way, way, way past hurt. When you get to the point where you're hurting, you've got a long way to go to hit it. So a lot of you haven't, you'll try it, but if you want to experience it, it's an awesome experience in the natural. So we did it. He said, what happens is, and he said this, listen, he said, it is more powerful than, say, this is what medical science says, 200 milligrams of morphine. Ed and I were jacked up. Come on now. You know morphine, man, you'd take a semi on, man. Hit me with the bat. That's all you got. Ed and I we were on that. And the other people now are understanding a little bit, you know. And so the Lord said to me in that hotel, he reminded me of that, and he said, just as there is a natural high, runner's high, there is a spiritual high that most of my people have not hit yet. And they have quit too soon and have not experienced it. That's what happened to me. I kept feeding the Word. I kept getting in the Word. I kept going at it no matter what. I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take time to God. I'm going to pray in the Spirit. I'm going to do whatever it takes. And what I was doing is I was still running around that track in the Spirit. Does everybody understand what I'm talking about? And all of a sudden, I hit that spiritual endorphin high. And I have never been the same since. You can't keep me from seeking God. Don't take my time with God. I got to have time with Him every day. I lived 35 years of, Sunday to Sunday and Wednesday and whatever youth group. And I did that. I wasn't seeing anything from God. But ever since I'm 35 and now 44, I'm telling you, I've seen God move in ways. I just came from